Daryl Fuller with the Red Cross is joining us today. He's a volunteer disaster responder with the Red Cross, and I imagine it's a very busy time with you because of all the information that we hear coming out of Florida and the Southeast about Hurricane Helene. So tell us about your efforts here in our area to help what's happening down in the Southeast part of the United States.
Well, thanks for inviting the Red Cross on to give you an update. So I'll give you some high-level information, and then I'm happy to answer any specific questions that you have. We've already got 1,400 disaster responders like me from around the country on the ground in Florida, providing food and shelter. And we're doing a lot of reunification work, people that can't find their relatives, can't find their friends, and the Red Cross works with FEMA to help with reunification. Of those 1,400 volunteers, 17 of them are currently from Oregon and Southwest Washington. We have others on standby that are getting ready to leave that will be part of the Red Cross group over the course of time, because we're going to be there for many weeks and many months because of just the utter devastation from Hurricane Helene. If people are interested in helping locally, there are three really important things they can consider doing. First of all, financial donations obviously are an important part of our ability to do what we do. And when we respond to disasters, the quickest way to make a small donation to the Red Cross is to text Helene, Helene, to 90999, and that allows you to make a quick $10 donation. You can also call 1-800-RED-CROSS or go to redcross.org and make a financial contribution. But one of the things that people often don't think about is the fact that we've had to cancel over 1,000 blood drives on the East Coast because of the hurricane. So those are people that would normally be donating blood that aren't donating now. So if you're not a blood donor, or if you haven't donated blood in a while, we could use more blood donors right now to try to help fill in the gap for a lot of those blood donations that simply aren't going to happen on the East Coast. We're responding in 5 states. So it's Florida, North and South Carolina, Georgia, and Tennessee. All have been significantly impacted by Helene, and the devastation there is going to complicate, obviously, their lives and the Red Cross's ability to collect blood for weeks and weeks.
That is some good high-level information, and thanks for giving us that quick overview. You said there's 17 people from Oregon and Southwest Washington who are either there or on their way there right now. Are these longtime volunteers, or are they just people who called you up recently and said, hey, I'd like to help?
Well, so we have some of both. Some of the folks that are there I know to be longtime volunteers, people that I've deployed with, people that I've worked with, people that get involved in Red Cross with disaster response, become very passionate about it, look for opportunities to help people all across the country. But we are always recruiting for volunteers. There are more than 200 different volunteer jobs when the Red Cross deploys to a disaster. People that are involved in our shelter, people that are involved with feeding, people that go out and assess damage on behalf of the Red Cross and FEMA to help them determine what kind of assistance they're going to need. We need people that are licensed forklift operators to help in our warehouses as things come in and need to be split out of trucks into smaller trucks and sent out to our warehouses. We need warehouse workers. So if people are interested in volunteering and being a disaster responder, we'd love to have a conversation about skills they already have that would be useful, or skills that they would like to learn. And then they put themselves on a list when they're available. You get to tell the Red Cross the times that you're available to deploy. And if they need your skills at a time when you're available, you could very well get a phone call saying, we need you at the airport in 24 hours, and you'll be gone for 2 weeks. And they take care of all of your expenses. They take care of all the travel arrangements. You just have to donate 2 weeks of your time.
And that was my next question. So if someone does volunteer and they say, how long is this going to last or take me? It's a 2-week time period. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's a minimum of 2 weeks. There are often options to stay a little bit longer. Last year, I did 4 weeks on Maui right after the fires there. So there are times that they need people to stay longer if we're available to do so.
But that's a case by case basis. And if you say I can only stay 2 weeks, then
Yep.
then okay.
Yeah, your assignment is 2 weeks.
Great. There are a lot of different disasters that are going on, and you said you're in 5 states right now, so they're spread out all over the place. Can a volunteer say, "I would like to go to specifically North Carolina"?
No. So when you put yourself on the available list, you're saying you're willing to go wherever the Red Cross needs you. So you may have an interest in responding to a hurricane in Florida, but they might need somebody with your skills at a wildfire in Southern California. So you're signed up to go where you're needed.
That's not
You always have the opportunity to decline when if you put yourself out there and say I'm available and they call and ask you to go someplace, you can always say no or volunteer.
true.
You always have that option. But you know, the job is to go where you're needed. I like to say we go where we're appointed and we do what we're told.
You mentioned also that, and this is something I hadn't really thought about because when you think about Red Cross responding to disasters from Hurricane Helene, for instance, it does cancel the blood drives. There's a ripple effect to what's going on, and you said there were about 1,000 blood drives on the East Coast. So if I was a blood donor here, my blood might be used somewhere around the country as needed. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. People who donate blood here can make a difference on the East Coast. Not only are we canceling blood drives, but because of the nature of the disaster, there are probably more blood needed because of the disaster. And so we have a national network of systems that move blood products around as they're needed. And if you're a blood donor, you can actually see where your blood ends up. They track it, and you can look at a map and see where your blood donations have been used. It's kind of interesting.
That is pretty good. And I wanted to touch. We only have a minute or so left. I wanted to touch on the idea of donations. You said you can go to the redcross.org.
Mhm.
The Red Cross app, did you say?
Well, the Red Cross has an app that I hope everybody will download because you may be in a situation where you need Red Cross services, or whether there's a local disaster, whether it's a wildfire here in Oregon, or we could have flooding. So if you go, whether it's an Android or whether it's an Apple device, there is a Red Cross disaster app. Those who do have it, it will show you where shelters are. It will provide you with information, but it also provides you with emergency alerts. It lets you know what's happening wherever you happen to be. So if there is a disaster, you're aware of it. So I encourage people to get the app, but the easiest way to make a donation is either through our website, redcross.org, or to call 1-800-RED CROSS. But you can make a $10 donation by typing the word Helene, Helene, to 90999. Or a more general donation, you could text Red Cross to 90999, and that makes a $10 donation.
Well, Daryl Fuller, thanks for giving us a few minutes of your time today. I know you and the rest of the Red Cross people are very, very busy, and thank you for all your work and thank you for your time today.
All right, I appreciate it. Have a good day.